Okay, so we'll begin now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute everyone, just so it's not jumping in and out of the speakers. Okay, there we go. Okay. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in for tonight's meeting. We hold meetings every second Wednesday of each month, starting at 6:30 to, well, Zoom's been a little more flexible. We usually run to about, when the speaker's done, 8:30, 8, whenever that is. So yeah, thank you for everyone for joining in tonight. Tonight, this is going to be our last Zoom meeting. In November, we're going to be hosting our meeting in person at Crescent Heights Community Hall. And I'll put that in the little message box here with the address and all that kind of information. You can also go on to our website, www.calgarydowsers.com. And I have that information posted on there as well. I got some indoor pictures of the main hall that you can check out. It's a really big space. It's got a really big green yard. I mean, winter's coming now, so I'm not going to be doing too much outside. But yeah, big hall, nice big kitchen. So I'm going to be doing a walkthrough probably in the next few weeks and go through some logistics with them. But super excited to get back in person with all of you guys. Our speaker for November is Tarun Puri. Just a magnificent person. I've been working with Tarun for the last little while here. We've been doing some sessions together, doing some work trades. So what he's going to be presenting on is managing your energy, not your stress. So he's going to be talking a little bit on energy. He's going to be talking on the power of the mind and how to harness that power to in a beneficial way to help yourself. He's also going to do a demonstration with dowsing rods, how to pick up thoughts, the frequencies of thoughts, and test for the impact on how thoughts impact people, places, things. So he's going to be doing a really good demonstration like that. He will have some products for sale in November's meeting. So he'll have a little table set up and with some of his stuff there. I don't know if his book will be here by then. He is an author of a book that he wrote called Finding the Guru Within. So we'll see if he gets his books in by then. If so, he'll have those also for sale. I'll post all of Tarun's information and our November meeting information. I'll get it on the Dowsers website by this weekend, and I'll get the newsletter out for November's meeting as well by this weekend. So watch out for that. Our November meeting, the second Wednesday, lands on November 11th. So we're going to actually bump the meeting to the following Wednesday, which will be November 18th. And I'll put that in there in nice bold lettering on our website, in the newsletter, in Facebook, all of our social media platforms. I'll have that clearly posted. Same with the new location information. So yeah, really excited about getting back in person with all of you. There are some guidelines we have to follow. So I will put a little very brief blurb in the newsletter and on the website and Facebook, all of our platforms there. I'll put a little blurb on just some of the guidelines that we have to follow to be in the hall. So it's nothing major. I would like to just take a moment just to acknowledge Joy for all the promotional work that she's been doing for Calgary Dowsers over the many years. Joy is thinking about shutting her business down at the end of the year if she doesn't have anybody take on her business. She has had offers, and I do believe that she's going to find someone, the right person to come along that will be able to take over and do just as good a job as Joy. So I'd just like to extend my gratitude to Joy for all her hard work. Thank you, Joy. I'd like to just acknowledge Brian and his wife, Elisa, for the endless emails going back and forth with Elisa, setting this meeting up. Thank you, Brian, for taking the time out of your visit with your children and Kimberly. Thank you for taking that time to be here with us. And also, I'd just like to acknowledge all of you for being online here. And if it wasn't for all of you, we wouldn't have a meeting. It would just be me. So thank you so much for joining in and tuning in. So yeah, let's get started. Really excited to have Brian on. He's an old, if you heard on earlier there, we were talking about how he used to rodeo back in his day. So Brian, he's been working with people and animals for over 35 years. At age 15, he was using muscle monitoring on horses. He got in a debilitating accident at age 16, and which he recovered from using Al Berry's body management. He's now an instructor in Touch for Health, Berry's body management, pet and horse therapy, and dry, live blood cell analysis. Brian has a wealth of knowledge with the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and nutritional aspects of the human body. He works with all kinds of people with various minor to major problems, helping them enhance their lives to their full potential. And what I love, Brian, when I was reading up on you here, is just how you had mentioned how you taught your own children Touch for Health and body management and the horse pet therapy at a very, very young age. So that's just absolutely incredible. Yeah, what warmed my heart that your children were so young and they wanted to learn that. It's absolutely incredible. So thanks again for coming on, Brian, and I'll hand it over to you.
Well, thanks for inviting me, and it's a privilege to be here. And my dowsing actually started when I was really young. I didn't know any different. My grandpa, when he moved over here from Czechoslovakia, they used a willow stick that was over by the dam, and they found that first well. And then from there, the second well went to the pump house. My grandpa still used a willow stick with that. And then the neighbor was using the rods, using coat hangers, and finding where they would cross at. And then from there, the fourth well that was finally drilled, it was done by muscle testing with me and my younger brother when I was 14 and my brother was 12. And then my dad would check using the willow stick to see if it was right. And yeah, it came to the exact spot. And we were even blindfolded when we did it. And we walked around the yard blind when we were just kids and doing this. So we kind of grew up with it. We didn't know any different that, it was called water witching or dowsing, but we still didn't know the full aspect of what that all entailed. And then when I was, so I started probably about 7 or 8 dowsing when we were kids. And then from there, I was taught by a fellow by the name of Stan Stuber, an old rancher down there, about muscle testing. And then someone would come behind you and push on your arm if it was strong or if it went weak, when you would go along the spine of a horse and test these horses' vertebrae if they were out. And using a push finger mean that the bone would have to go down on an indicator muscle change, or a pull finger if the bone had to come up on an indicator muscle change. So that's where that started. And my dad and my brother were doing it. They had learned from this Stan Stuber, and I thought they were crazy. I said, you know how stupid that looks? You guys pumping on an arm like that? And they used to say, Brian, just go to the house. Never mind. So I'd bugger off to the house, and then I would come back again and watch him do some more. And my brother wasn't home one day. And my dad said, come over here, hold your arm up. I want to check this horse out. So he's going, I'm holding my arm like that, and he's pushing pretty hard, it felt like. And he went along the back of my arm, went down. And I said, you're pushing too hard. He said, no, I'm not. And I said, yes, you are. No, I'm not. Yes, you are. So I said, let me try it then. And my dad was a pretty stocky little guy, huh? Farmed in, his whole life. So really strong. And so he's holding his arm up there, and I went along the spine, and it went down the same place he did. And I said, hold your arm up there. He said, I am. And I said, I know how strong you are. Hold your arm up. So he did, and I went along again, and it went down again. So I thought, I'm just going to distract him a little bit and go off the spine. And I went off the spine, and his arm went down. And I said, hold your arm up. He said, I am. And I said, no, you're not, because I'm not even on the spine. So I'm resting my arm on his arm when it's up like that. I'm resting my arm on it like that. And he said, well, I don't know, maybe it's a bone or a muscle or I don't know, nerve. And when he said nerve, it dropped down like that. And I went, bone, muscle, nerve. Arm went down like that. I went, is this a nerve? And it was strong. It was different. Then I went, well, is this a cat? Went weak. Is this a horse? Went strong. So from there, when I was 14 years old, I learned that I could get a yes or no response. I went crazy with all this muscle testing and dowsing and stuff with that. And having a child like mine with a light heart, I wanted to know everything. So I asked the ants questions. I asked grasshoppers questions. I asked the trees questions. I asked everything that I could think of, my pet ducks and geese that I had, and everything. And that's where I learned a lot about how to ask proper muscle testing questions to get the right response in those early years like that. And then when I was 16, I was coming back from a rodeo, a high school rodeo, and I fell asleep and went into the ditch and hit another road going into the highway and flipped a truck end over end. And it took my left leg, I must have had it straight against the floor, and it drove my left leg up against my rib cage, and it had broken my pelvis and crushed my pelvis in different places. So I was in the hospital. I had internal bleeding. They had a pin through my shin on a rope that went down to a pulley onto 35 pounds. And so I was there for a month hoping that that would bring that leg back down. And after a month, it wasn't coming. So then they increased it to 120 pounds. So I strapped like that for another month. And it was still 3.5 inches shorter than the other leg. Still couldn't feel anything from the waist down. And I remember the doctor, and he came in and he said, Brian, there's nothing more we can do. You're going to have to get used to being in a wheelchair. And I went, what? In a wheelchair? I said, what am I supposed to do? He said, well, I hear computers are the new up and coming thing. You might want to look into that. Well, he got the bird flipped to him pretty quick after that. And then from there, came back home, and it was pretty depressing. Had a lot of different emotions stacked up on top of me to go from athlete of the year of our school into being in a wheelchair. Pretty devastating, huh? So my mom and dad, they didn't give up. We went to spine specialists, neurologists, acupuncturists, chiropractors, tried all these different people. And my dad had heard about this old welder out in BC named Al Berry. And he said he fixed his back up where he couldn't get on a horse. He said, go give him a try. So they loaded me up in the car, took me to Kamloops, BC, unloaded me and picked me up, and his workbench was his pool table. And I thought, what the heck? I've been to all these professionals and stuff. What's this welder gonna do? And look what he's gonna work on me on a pool table. So he said, Brian, I want you to hold your legs apart. I said, well, I can't. He said, try, you little fart. So he pulled down my legs and they just collapsed together. There was no strength at all. And he said, Brian, he said, your body's like a house, and he said, your circuit breakers are turned off. I got to turn them back on. I said, whatever. So he reached from my front of my hip bone and he went down 2 inches, in 2 inches, and down 2 inches. And he took his big thumb and he pushed that nerve on. It felt like a lightning bolt shot down this side of my leg. And I said, holy heck, like I can really cowboy up. And I mean, that really hurt. He said, you ought to thank me, you little fart, for getting some sort of feeling down there. Now I got to do the other side. I said, well, you don't need to do it that hard. He said, yeah, okay. And I had a chip on my shoulder this high with anger that nobody could knock off back then, huh? So he reached to the other side and he turned that nerve on. Same thing, that shot of pain just shot down that leg. And I took a swung at him and I just missed his big nose, bigger than mine. And he said, I want you to hold your legs there, you little fart. I said, I can't. He said, try. So I did, and he pulls on my legs and I go, there's some strength there. And again, I knew about this muscle testing stuff before, but I said, you're not pulling hard enough. He said, yes, I am. And I said, no, you're not. Yes, I am. I said, no, you're not. I said, I called my dad over and I said, you come pull on my legs, see if there's strength there. So he pulls on my legs and goes, there's some strength there, Brian. I said, really? Do it again. So he pulls on my legs again and there was strength there where I had none before. And I still couldn't feel nothing from my waist down, huh? So I couldn't really tell. I went back a month and a half later and he worked on me again. And all I could feel is a little tingling in this one big toe. That was it. Went back a month and a half later again and he worked on me some more. And then that's when I could feel my skin and my muscles again. Went, hey, where do I learn this stuff? He said, I'll teach you, you little fart. So that's where that first started, way back when. Yeah. Excuse me. So I showed Al how to work with horses and he showed me how to work with people. Doing this, asking the body yes or no questions. And he would never really give me a true answer. He'd always say, ask the body, Brian. So I was lucky because from learning how to ask the body at a young age, you know, to when I was 18 then, 19 then, when I first seen him. And asking the body questions became really easy to me. So then I took my first Touch for Health courses from him and then took it from John Thie, the originator of it, and then another guy, and then became an instructor in it. And I always helped Al do the body management stuff because I was so interested in what he could do and how easy it was to make these corrections to help people on not just a physical level, but emotional levels too. And from there, it just brought up more questions. The more questions I had, the more I had to know. And it's still the same way. Just seems like the more you learn, the more you got to know. It never seems to end. But sticking with the basic dosing questions, I still go back to that foundation of that to find out for myself through research, quantum mechanics, quantum physics, all these different things to validate what we're actually doing when we do this, whether it be the pendulum, whether it be muscle testing different ways, whether it be using the wires crossing, whether it be the witching sticks, the bobbers, you know, there's lots of different ways out there. And I'm sure there's lots that we haven't even heard about yet from different cultures that are out there have been doing it also. So I'm so grateful that you're putting on this type of forum that people can learn and grow and evolve themselves to even be greater than what they already are. And I want to thank Joy also, because what I teach her in 1993, I think it was, the Touch for Health way back when in Arizona. So for her to get a hold of you, to get a hold of me, it's a privilege. So thanks, Joy. That was really good of you. I sure appreciate that. Yeah. So from there, I'm still working on animals, got back riding again. I had to build my legs back up. They'd atrophied to about the size of my forearms here, to my thighs at that time. And that took a while to rebuild all that back up. So, you know, you started on the walker and then went to the crutches. And then when I could get back on my horse again, now I had some freedom back in. But it was like learning to ride all over again. And that took a lot of time, where normally I could just jump on bareback and just run. No, I couldn't do that. I had to start off as a walk or I would have fallen off the horse because I had now no strength in them legs or, well, from the waist down. Yeah. So that's how that started then. And then there was a guy that came out to see me work on a lady that had problems with that, with her. And then he asked me to come into his clinic, and one day turned into 3 days. 3 days went into 5 days. And then I thought there's better ways of doing what they were doing as a business to be more ethical. And I decided to go on my own. And that's kind of how that started from way back when. And I had an office in Lethbridge and had many different professionals that were coming to me, whether it be doctors or chiropractors or different massage therapists, or to get better results for themselves. And then people started saying, well, why don't you teach this stuff? You got all this knowledge. Well, I'm just a farm kid and a cowboy. I mean, I got no papers behind my name or anything like that. And so I had to go back and relearn how to do things to get those papers, which really just took me right back to the beginning of asking the body questions and using the dowsing techniques that I have. Yeah. So that's how all that started. That's my little story, and it just goes on and on and on from there. But that's how that started way back when. And so then I've always done dowsing for as long as I can remember, but now it's getting away from that and just noticing what you feel inside. I'm working more towards that, where you already know the response when you do it enough times, whether it's a strong response or a weakening response within myself on that one. But yeah, and then just relying on allowing those questions to come in. And the reason why I went to more of muscle testing is because when I waited for the answer to come, my mind was already on another question. So that's why I went away from using the rods or the sway test within myself, because I would get quicker responses, quicker answers. I could get to the problem quicker through muscle testing, and that's why I use that still today. Yeah. The blood cell analysis is another thing that I do too, and that's where I'll take one little bead of blood and I'll put it on top of the finger, and I'll let it sit there for about 30 seconds. And the reason for that is that the heavier toxins will fall to the bottom and the lighter toxins will be on top. And I'll take 8 layers of that one bead of blood. And in the first layers where the lighter toxins are at, it's what the bones, lymph, and the lungs work with. When I get down to the very last layers where the heavier toxins are at, it's what the large intestine and liver work with, and then the other organs in between. So through looking at the different layers of blood, it'll help me to identify where the different problems are. And then I take another little small sample off that little bead of blood, and I put it between 2 plates of glass. And that will tell me how well the oxygen levels are, oxygen carrying capacity is of the red blood cells for your energy levels, how well the digestion is working to pull in protein to rebuild new cells, how well the body can eliminate to get rid of old, dead, and decaying cells to rebuild new cells, how the body can restore, rebuild, and maintain itself. And then from there, I melded those two together. And it's quite interesting that I've been asked to speak in many different places in different parts in the world. And I'll show the blood before. I'll do what's called a body balance, and then go back and immediately show the blood again and how it's changed and separated and way more in a healthy state. And just so that people can see how it works at an energetic level, at a cellular level in the body. And so, yeah, it's been really interesting, and it's never boring because you meet so many different kinds of people and they all have their own story and the trials and tribulations that they've gone through. And it sure teaches you gratitude of where you are and how great you really are, and inside, and the healing capacity that the body has for itself. Yeah. Any questions so far that anybody has?
If anyone has any questions, you have free range to unmute yourself.
Absolutely.
If you'd like to. maybe I'll just start off here, Brian. I got lots of questions. So, do you, for doing the blood analysis, did you had to take some sort of courses and stuff for that, like to be dealing with blood? Like what was the process with that?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's a really in-depth course on physiology and anatomy. You have to write a test. And, you know, back in high school, if I got 50, hey, I was happy with that. But no, this you had to have a lot higher marks in order to be able to be certified as a live blood cell practitioner. And then you weren't certified until you could actually show it being done on somebody else. And they brought in people that had cancer, from cancer to a sore toe, you might say. And then you had to analyze that and see where those problems are by looking at the blood and what the problem is and where it all began and what to do nutrition-wise, whether it be eliminating foods or adding supplements in order to compensate for that, to bring that harmony back into that body again, or that atonement, that attunement, at one-ment with that body physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and nutritionally to be in balance. And those are the things that I work on with people today on all those different levels.
Mm-hmm. And do you, I'm sure you've done tons and tons of comparisons with, I mean, you were saying you would do a blood analysis. Do you do, let's say, some muscle testing on somebody, and then doing the blood analysis, and the blood analysis showing exactly what you've muscle tested for?
Yeah, pretty darn close. Yeah, real close, in fact. Yeah. Oh, it's such a good comparison, because then it gets you to see a different doctor, I guess, a different specialist, I guess, or a different opinion, to come up with common grounds of what you need to do to help that person to be able to heal itself to the full potential that it can. Yeah. And so that it heals itself permanently, not coming back all the time with the same old thing over and over and over again. And the blood analysis showed me that through looking at the chemistry of the body. And the body's electrochemical and chemical electric in nature.
Do you do the analysis with every patient, or do they request it? Is it something completely different? Like, do you find that people need to see something tangible on that scientific level to see, okay, something is actually happening? He's not just, muscle testing and stuff like that. Do people want to see that tangible?
It sure helps to show them, especially the ones that are on the mathematical logical side, and they want to see the scientific proof. They want to know what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how you're doing it, instead of it's just energy. Well, it's not just energy. Everything comes out of energy, but there's a reason why all that happens. So I've had to find all that stuff out to validate what I was doing. Yeah. And that people can see the changes, then not only feel it, but they can see it too. And they can still see where they need improvement, or where they've been slacking off on their lifestyle changes that they may need to make in order to get that body to work to its, I guess, the biggest energy field that you can have around your body, in order to be able to create and pull in new thoughts and new ideas to overcome them, instead of being stuck in the same old thing over and over and over again. Yeah.
So what are the differences between Touch for Health and the body management?
Well, I can show you that, because Greg did a Touch for Health session, didn't he?
He did a Touch for Health, yes, back in January, yeah.
Okay, well, can I show that then?
Oh, please, yeah, for sure.
I'll get Ellie to get my son, and we'll do some.
Awesome. That sounds great. Yeah. Does anyone else have any questions?
No, well, that's pretty good, I guess. No questions so far. I don't know what he's doing. He's coming, I guess. So just have a chair here. So this is my son, Aris.
Hi.
Hello.
And he was 2 years old when I first muscle tested him in a class that I had. And it was so cute how he did it. And yeah, then you took the first classes when you were what, old, 10?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah,
No, it was 11. I think I just turned 11.
yeah. But it's different with him because he has the ability to see the energy inside the body and the energy field around the body. So it's pretty cool. Like for example, there was a horse that we were working on at this horse course, and Ara said, Dad, this horse's shoulder out. And I said, well, go ahead, put it in. And he says, well, can I just use this to do that? And I said, well, that's a pretty big shoulder, and that's a huge muscle structure that's keeping that shoulder out of position. You really kind of got to get in there and do it. He said, well, can I try it? And I said, sure. I walked backwards, and I walked, what, 15 steps maybe? And he said, done. And I said, what? You're done? I said, no way. And I said, let me check that out. So I checked that out and muscle test that. Well, by God, it was in. And the horse's ears were relaxed. He was licking his lips in a relaxed manner. And I went, huh, well, that's something. So maybe sometime later on, maybe you can get him on to give you a talk about these energy fields and stuff around the body. It's pretty cool what he sees, you know. But that started at I don't know, he was about 3 or 4. And I was finished working with a lady, and he goes, Dad, dark spot, and he's just small. And I said, well, where? And then he said, dark spot. So I lifted him up, and he touched this girl's back, and she went, oh, that really hurts. I mean, his little finger was nothing that what he touched her with. And so I got her back in the right position. I said, any dark spots there anymore? And he says, no. And I said, any more? And he goes, and he reaches and grabs this lady, and he goes right there on her hand. And she said, I've had that ganglion for 2 years. And I said, well, how do you do that? And he said, Dad, I just know. And then I said, yeah, but how do you do that? Dad, I just know. Yeah, but how do you know that? Dad, I just know. It was just like kind of, okay, leave it alone kind of thing. And he was a little younger than that, and he's running around the living room and going, baby, baby, baby. And there's no dolls or nothing around our living room. And I said, show Dad where baby is. So he lifts up his mom's shirt and goes, there. And I went, holy heck, better get a preg test, eh? Sure enough, huh? Test was positive. So we're sitting around the table, and I'm going, so, I mean, what are you going to have, a sister or brother? And he goes, sister. So I thought I'd just switch him up on it. He was just small. Well, you can have a brother or sister. Sister again. So she was about 7 months pregnant along, and we're sitting at the table again eating, and he's just little. And I said, well, I wonder what time your sister's going to be born. And he pipes up and goes, 2:30. Well, kids at that age have no concept of time. She was born at 2:38. And it still kind of baffles me on that one. So, you know, I think way back when with the dowsing and everything like that, it went back to the primitive part of the brain, the lower cerebellum here, which is the subconscious or unconscious part of the mind. And when we douse like that, and they say how we use up to 10% of our brain, well, that's the whole frontal lobe and mid lobe. The other 90% back here is what regulates our heart, keeps us breathing when we're sleeping, is that other 90% of the brain that we don't use, or that we're not aware of, I should say. Subconscious or unconscious. So it doesn't think or judge. The front part and the mid part of the brain do that. The back part of the brain just works on a positive polarity or negative polarity, either energy enhancing or energy depleting. So through that, then this is where we're getting our responses from, of an unknown that we can test, either a stressor or a non-stressor, either energy enhancing or energy depleting. And that's what we're working with when we're either using the pendulum, the rods, whichever dowsing technique you do. Problem is that the mind gets in the way of your tests, and that's where it's inconsistent. And it depends on how you ask your questions, the intent that's behind the questions, the emotions in behind those words can also influence your testing ability, you might say. So those are all the things I had to learn about. Why does it work sometimes and why doesn't it work sometimes? And I had to work on that to get my thought process clear and focused on what it is that I'm actually just checking with my intent. Otherwise, you get other intents in there and you're going to get other response tests to it, either, you know, going one way, or it'll spin the other way, or it'll go one way, this way, or this way, depending on who's running that pendulum on that. So with body management, it's not just physical stuff, it's anything that a person can work with. And we can do goals for that and find out what is the body responds to that it would like and what it wouldn't like. So I got you out here. Is there anything that you would like better in your life? I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but just contemplate.
I guess it would be to get closer to reaching my goal for climbing in the Olympics in 2024. That would probably be the only thing I can think of right now.
So he's into indoor rock climbing. So reaching your goal, what does that mean?
I think it would just be getting strong enough to qualify for that.
Okay.
That would be something that I'd enjoy and feel great about myself.
And let's take that further than that. And if you had that, what would that give you? Because if you're stronger and you have more joy in your rock climbing and your goal of reaching the Olympics,
I guess it would be more self-respect.
Self-respect? Do you want to elaborate on that?
I don't know what to elaborate on.
What does that mean by self-respect? How would that give you more self-respect?
Maybe it would just make me feel better about myself and feel like I don't know. It's hard to explain.
Well, if you could explain it. So if you're stronger and you could climb better towards your goal of reaching the Olympics, it would give you more joy, self-respect. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay. So we got a few things here that you kind of would like. So we can just use testing with that, or you can use your pendulum, or you can use your rods, or whatever that you type of divining device that you want to use out there on that. Do you want to just check those different aspects of that?
Sure.
Okay, let's just do that. So just get you to lie on your back then. And what we need first is that we need to always ask permission. Would it be okay if I work with you and try to attain these goals for you?
Yes.
To help that better? Okay, so it's all right if I touch then?
Yep.
Okay, so we have it on a conscious level, but we also need it on a subconscious level. So may I touch?
Yeah.
Hold that arm straight and we'll see if we have a strong indicator muscle. We do. And I can ask that person, is it okay if I work with your body today? Will it harm this body in any way, shape, or form? No. Are you sure? Well, show me a yes, show me a no. So we got a strong arm for yes, Weak arm for a no on that one. Is there something that we, let's just check the different aspects of that. So the first aspect of climbing would be what? Getting stronger?
Yeah.
So how would you put that in a word? Physically stronger?
Yeah.
So getting physically stronger. That test strong, is that the best goal for now? No. What was the other aspect?
Mentally stronger is one
Okay,
aspect.
so mentally stronger. That's still test strong. Is that the best goal for now? No. What was the other part of it? Self-respect, you said.
Yeah.
Self-respect, is that the best goal for now? No.
Joy.
Now we got a weakness. Is that the best goal for now? So so just to have more joy when you do it. Instead of it having to be work all the time. He's kind of got a smile on his face if you can't see that. Because he does put a lot of work into it. So we can ask the life, well, I'm going to hold right up here at as close to where his thymus gland is up here. And I want to find out the life force of attaining this goal of joy. Is it at 10%, 20%, 30%, 21, 22, 23, 24? So we got an indicator muscle for the life force only at 24%. Ideally, we want that to 100 or as close as we can get it. And I want to find out the negative energy put on this body, the emotional charge on this of attaining the Olympics. Is it at 10%, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 81, 82, 83, 84. So about 84% negatively charged on this one. So we want to bring that down to 0 and get the other one, the life force, up to 100% on that. So there's no stress on this. So if you've seen how Greg did, I'm just going to go through just 14 muscles like Greg did with you on that. So say, I am joy.
I am joy.
Hold that arm. Say that again.
I am joy.
Bring your hands behind your lower back.
I am joy.
Say that
I
again.
am joy.
You're trying, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Turn your hand out.
I am joy. I am joy.
Turn your arm in. Hold that one
I
in.
am joy. I am joy.
So this one has to do with the spleen meridian, heart meridian.
I am joy. I am joy.
Bend this knee up.
I am joy. I am joy.
Turn your foot out. Hold
I am
that.
joy.
Hold this one.
I am joy.
Hold this leg up.
Oh,
Turn your toe out.
I am joy. I am joy.
You're trying, right? Hold this leg out.
I am joy. Oh,
And then this one.
I am joy.
And then I'll go across your body.
I
You're
am
going to go my
joy.
way. That's strong.
I am joy.
That's strong. Bring your arms straight.
I am joy.
That's switched off.
I am joy.
That's switched off. Turn your hand out.
I am joy.
So each one of these muscle
I am
tests
joy.
corresponds with different vertebrae, different nerves, different
I am
muscles, different tendons, different ligaments. Hold that up. Toe in again.
I am joy.
And then this one.
I am joy.
So he switched off on a lot of these different meridians or energy pathways so that that current towards having joy is not flowing uninterrupted through his entire body like that. Now there could be emotions involved in with this too, with this. So we'll just check out different emotions on that one. Say fire,
Fire,
earth,
earth,
metal, water, wood. Oh, say gallbladder,
gallbladder,
liver. Say anger.
anger,
That's one. Say rage,
rage,
wrath,
wrath,
distress,
distress,
vengefulness,
vengefulness,
resentment.
resentment,
So resentment, self-righteous,
self-righteous,
indignation. That's good. Transformation,
transformation,
responsibility,
responsibility,
unhappiness,
unhappiness,
happiness,
happiness,
irritability,
irritability,
hostility,
hostility,
content,
content,
blamed,
blamed,
bitter,
bitter,
central,
central,
governing. Say embarrassment,
embarrassment,
supported,
supported,
unsupported,
unsupported,
trust,
trust,
distrust,
distrust,
truth,
truth,
integrity,
integrity,
So integrity, say integrity with self.
Integrity with self.
Say self to others.
Self to others.
Others to self. Others to others. Others or self to self.
Self to self.
So he has an integrity problem then of not reaching this, a stressor on that. So what does integrity mean? That means honoring your word or saying what you say you're going to do. So if he doesn't reach this goal, then his integrity goes down. And that's kind of a little bit what you were talking about with your self-worth a little bit. So energetically, when you don't fulfill that or don't feel that you can fulfill that, that can also cause an energy blockage in your body. So that's just some of the things that we can do pre-test for. Now we got to do something about it so that when we test him all over, when he said, I am joy, it should be strong everywhere. And we'll check that out and we'll find out where that energy isn't flowing properly in his body. Go back and recheck everything after that and see how that feels. Okay? So I'll just get you to turn over on your stomach and I'll just take a look at your back first. So I'm just going to start off here. I don't know if you can see this, but I'm just taking a look at the length of his legs and see how they line up. And I don't know if you can see that, but one heel's a little higher than the other one. So if we go check out his back and just feel those muscles, this side's nice and smooth. This side, tight, that hurts, eh?
Yeah.
So what we want to do is we need to release this muscle in here because it's pulling up on his hip like a chain and won't let that hip go back where it needs to be. So I'm just going to apply my hands like this. And what I'm doing is out of the palm of the hand comes infrared light, which is a clear light that we can't see with the visual eye. Infrared is converted by the cells of his pancreas into ultrasound. So I'm using ultrasound just like a physical therapist would use an ultrasound machine to relax these tight muscles. So I'll probably have to hold here for a minute or two. Otherwise, somebody's going to have to massage his back for probably a good hour to get those ropey muscles as loose as they need to be with him. So then I can get that hip in the proper position where it needs to be. Because the hips are kind of like a foundation in a house. And when the foundation shifts, then it shifts all the way up and all the way down. And you got to remember too, with dowsing, your bones are like an antenna that pick up certain sounds, certain frequencies, certain vibrations, certain intents that you put in there. This is why people can feel it deep in their bones, or they walk into a place and something doesn't feel right. Well, how do they know that? They just know that. They feel it deep inside. Or were you thinking about somebody and sure enough they call? Well, that's the subconscious or the back part of the brain that does that. And that doesn't think or judge, it just knows. It's either energy enhancing or energy depleting. So I'll feel the muscles. How's that in there now?
Much better.
You just said much better if you can't hear that. And I'm just going to go that hip. Is there any tenderness in there?
No.
No tenderness. And I'm just going to rotate that leg. And we'll just take a look at the length of his legs and we'll see how that is now. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that's even on his heels. And I'll just use muscle checking just to chest those hips. That's strong, that's strong. I'll go up his back. Oh, he's got a little problem right here in his back. So I'll use that muscle test again and see which way. I'm going to go clockwise with it. That's strong. I'll go counterclockwise with it. That goes weak. So we want to go in the strengthening direction, which is clockwise. Now I'll use muscle testing again to see how deep I need to go. So I'm just applying a little bit of pressure until I get an indicator muscle change. So that's the depth that I need to massage at. And then we can ask, how long should I massage for? 10 seconds, 20 seconds? So we'll go 20 seconds on this one. So that's how I do it, by asking the body where to go and what to do. And how to do it. And how that body wants it done. And then I'll go back and we'll just recheck that again. Oh, it's still a little weak. Got to do a little more. And then we'll recheck that again. Now that's strong. So I'll continue going up his back. I'll go down his one whole leg. Nothing there. You can put it down. Let's try the other side. Oh, he's got one right just on the inside of the shoulder blade. Is that tender there?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said. Okay. Which way do we got to go with it? We'll go clockwise with this. No, it doesn't want that. So let's go counterclockwise then. He wants that. Now let's see how deep to go. Not too deep, a little bit. And for how long? 10 seconds. So it's going to take less than 10 seconds to do this one. So yeah, it's kind of neat when you can communicate with a body like that through a yes or no response. Find out exactly what you need to do because everybody's so different. And then we'll go back and recheck. Now that's strong. You can put that leg down. I'll just use another leg to test with. Oh, he's got a problem right in the back of his knee. Right there it goes weak. Sore there?
Yeah.
Oh, that really hurts, eh? So I'll go clockwise on this one. That's strong. Counterclockwise? No, we got to go clockwise. How deep? Not too deep. For how long? 10, 20, 30, 40, 40 seconds on that one.
The pain, it goes up my entire leg.
The pain goes up your entire leg, you said?
Yeah, when you push on.
Okay, and the pain, if 10 was a bad pain and 0 is no pain, what number?
I could say 5, almost 6.
So 5, almost 6, and just give me numbers you feel it go down then.
Okay, it's about a 2 now.
A 2 now, he's saying.
Kind of a 1 now.
A 1.
Okay.
Gone?
Yep.
Bend this leg up. Let's test it. Make sure, yeah? I'm just going to check his spine now. So I'm getting an indicator muscle change on upper thoracic at T5, thoracic 5, thoracic 6, thoracic 7. So I'll get you a turnover on your back. Okay. Can you get him a Kleenex, Ellen? So I'm just going to reach underneath here, find out exactly. I'm just going to scan where it goes weak, right there. I'll get you to reach both hands above your head. I'm just going to come up underneath here and just lift him up a little bit and wait for those muscles to release. And then go ahead and pick your head up all the way. There's one vertebrae, drop it down. Then we'll do this one. Go ahead. That's pretty sore, that one there. Go ahead, pick your head up. Hard to do, eh?
Yeah.
That away. Okay, you can drop it down. And one more to go. And then you can drop that back down again. I'll get you to turn over on your stomach and let me check out your back again. Bend this leg up for me. Oh, that's strong. So I'm going to check bones on the back, nerves on the back, muscles on the back, tendons on the back, ligaments on the back, organs on the back. Oh, we got an organ problem. I'll get you to turn over on your back. Well, first of all, bend this leg up. Show me yes. Show me a no. Is there more I can do on the back? No. So I'll get you to turn over on your back then. All towards the goal of joy. Having more joy. And taking the stress off of it with all those other emotions that we identified. You want another one?
No, it's okay.
Okay. So, what I'll get you to do is I want you to hold this leg out and hold that leg out. And I'm just going to pull those legs together. So you just make them stiff.
Yeah.
If both of these hips are where they need to be, both these legs should lock out strong. If not, I just got to go back and redo something with those hips again. So I'll pull. Now does that feel strong to you?
Yeah.
Okay. So this hand then goes up here onto your shoulder. And these are 4 main switches that I do first. They're like your main circuit breakers in your house for your body. And we'll check these circuit breakers. So that one goes weak there. So we'll just do this one first. So how to find that one? From the front of the hip bone, if you go down 2 inches, then you go in 2 inches, and then you drop down 2 inches again. It's close to where the corner of your pubic bone is there. There may be a gland inflamed there. And that's a good one to keep on. These 4 main switches, if you do nothing for yourself, keep these 4 main switches going. Because if you just sit up, for us, go ahead, swing your legs this way. The energy of the body comes up like this, goes around, and comes back up like that, and it goes all the way around the whole body like this. No different than the earth has that electromagnetic field. Our bodies have this electromagnetic field also. So by getting these 4 main switches on, it helps to get that current flowing up the body like this way in an energy pattern like that, no different than the earth. So I'll get you laying your back again. And we'll just find those. May I touch?
Yep.
So from the front of the hip bone, down, in, down.
Oh, no, stop, please.
What's that one like?
Painful.
Painful? Then
Those ones always hurt.
Can you rub that out then?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, you tell me when the pain's gone then. So some of those, you know, they'll feel uncomfortable in those areas. Just get that person to do it themselves. The way I was shown was to pull on it like a light switch, like Al Berry did to me, but it hurts a lot. So this way, you just rub, so you move the skin over the area. You don't need to dig to China on these. All you're doing is just stimulating the nerves to open up the lymph ducts, to allow those acids to drain out of those lymph nodes, to get that current flowing back in this direction around the body like that, around there, like a big globe. How are you making out?
Still hurts.
Still hurts? Well, keep rubbing it. Remember, rubbing it hard and rubbing it slow does nothing. You just need to rub fast, not hard. Because we don't want to hurt you, just want to get you feeling better, right? To have that joy towards these Olympics. And they're when?
2024.
So you've got 3 or 4 years to go, huh?
Yeah, I'll be 18.
You'll be 18, okay. How are we doing?
Hurts less.
It hurts less, but still need more, okay. So anyways, when I was paralyzed, these are the ones that I had to work on myself at least 8 to 10 times a day to keep that current going into those legs of mine so I could keep walking. And it sure shows you gratitude afterwards with all the different people that, with all their different pains and woes that they have. It sure helps to bring in more gratitude to see when I put my feet down in the morning and I stand up out of bed, I go, hey, this is pretty nice. Where we take these things for granted, huh? How you doing?
Good. It feels like heat all through my leg. It feels nice.
I don't know if you could hear him, but he just said it. I don't know, but he said it. It feels like heat. What?
There's heat going throughout my leg, and it feels nice.
Throughout his leg, and it feels nice. So let's just see. That hand goes back up to that shoulder. Hold those legs, and I'll pull. How's that feel that time?
Strong.
Strong. Let's check the other side now. How's that side?
Sorry.
So if it went weak, we would do the other side. Then this hip has to work with the shoulder, because as one leg comes ahead, so should the opposite arm at the same time. So just walking can throw a person out of balance. So let's check this out. No, it's fine. Not so good. So we got no current going. So when you put your hand here, and I pull on those legs, we have no power. So it's kind of like having 2 vehicles. One's got not too bad of a battery in it. This one's a little bit run down with the joy part of it when it comes to rock climbing to making those Olympics. So if we got 2 vehicles, one's got a good battery and the other one doesn't have a good battery, usually it takes 2 cables to get that car going. A cable from positive to positive and another cable to go from negative to negative. But you can get away with just 1 booster cable if you have 2 bumpers that are touching together and they're steel. That's like going from negative to negative. So I know that when he puts his hand to here and I hook up to his bumper and it goes weak, we got no current going through there. So if he takes his jumper cable and he puts his hand onto his wrist, let's see if that will help. That does nothing. Then let's go to his elbow. Still nothing. Then let's go to his shoulder. Now he's got power back in those legs again. So the problem's in that shoulder somewhere. So we can use this arm kind of like a tester, a wire tester, to find out, and I'm just scanning to find out where that current is not going, and it's right there. So let's see which way we got to go. This way, clockwise. That's strong. Counterclockwise. No, it goes weak. So we got to go clockwise. And that deep, not too deep, but for how long? 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, so 30 seconds. So it's these pain spots are the body's telling you there's something wrong here. Do something about that. Now, a thing when there's lots of pain or anxiety that goes along with some of these spots, if you just take the palm of your hand and put it over top of your head, there's 2 emotional stress release points right here. So when people come under stress, they go, oh my God. Or if a child falls, 5 women come running and they hold the front and the back of the head of that child, and the child stops crying. So we're just taking the stress off the pain of that nerve that's not flowing like it should through there, that energy, that electrical current, those electrical impulses. Where are you at now?
Oh, it's pretty much good now.
It's gone?
Yeah.
Let's see. We got to make sure, right? So this hand comes down, hold those legs. So we have these 4 main power circuits going. Now his body can start to generate more of its own energy to do more of its own healing. This hand then goes across your navel. Because the large intestine should come up underneath the rib cage, it goes across the navel, back up to the other rib cage and comes back down. So I'm just checking to see if that large intestine is in its proper position. Hold those legs. No power. So let's find out where it got to. Let's go down an inch at a time. Still no power. Go further. There's where he's at there. So that large intestine has dropped down like that. We want to bring that back up. And I'll just start moving that back up to where it needs to be. And I got that right underneath of his hand. So what happens in the large intestine is there's a set of veins that go back up to the liver called the hepatic portal vein. So when that large intestine drops down, that stretches those veins. So the nutrition, the vitamins and minerals that the large intestine puts together go back up through that vein. But those veins get stretched, kind of like stretching a rubber band to get thinner. So then you get less nutrition that goes back up to the liver. Some people that can put pressure onto the bladder so a person can't hold their water as long as they should have. Some people it puts pressure on the veins and arteries that go down into the legs, so poor circulation in the legs. Some people it puts pressure down on the bladder, which puts pressure on the prostate. So there's where men can have prostate enlargement problems. On women, it can tilt the uterus off to the side, causing menstrual problems. A lot of cramping in there that goes along with that. So we'll just keep moving that large intestine up. How hard am I pushing?
It doesn't feel that hard.
So
I know that it is about 1/2 inch to 1 inch down.
So the large intestine will move away from the energy of your hands. So you're not pushing it up per se. You're just guiding it back in the right position. And it should be right across about where the navel is. And then that can also put pressure on the nerves in the lower back. And that's what can throw the lower back out of position. So if we go back and we take that hand, put it back across your navel, let's see if it's in the proper position. It is. Point your fingers just above your pubic bone. We'll check the bladder. That's strong. Just underneath the pubic bone for the prostate gland. That's okay. And then the stomach should lie just straight across like that. And we'll see if it's there. It's not there. So I'm just going to check increments to find out where it's at. So we'll go 1 inch at a time. Still not there. Go further. Go further. There's where it's at like that. So it looks like about an angle about like that. So what's happened then is that the liver can't drop enough bile to combine with the pancreas to make the enzymes. So now then what happens is that you can't make the enzymes. Now the stomach has to produce more acid to try and churn and mix up that food to make it into a chyme or liquid state. The stomach muscle then gets tight. The esophagus is a tube that runs down to it, so then it can get tight and it shortens and pulls the stomach up against the diaphragm of the lungs. So if we want to check the lungs out, we can do that. So point your finger into this lung. The right lung is fine. Let's check the left lung. Left lung goes weak. So somewhere in that lung is not working as well as it should. So now we can find out which aspect of that lung isn't working as well as it should. So I'll get you to breathe all the way in. That's strong, all the way out. And hold your legs. So it goes weak when he breathes all the way out. So he's not able to get all of his air out to get all of his air in when that stomach's up against the diaphragm of the lung like that. So he's breathing more like this. So when you breathe from the chest up like that, you're always under a state of stress. So if you watch this kid, lately, it's been like, he can't really relax. He goes to do something. Oh, I just want to lay down. I kind of want to relax. Then he goes to relax. No, he's got to go do something. Find a video game. Find something to do. So we want to get him breathing back in a relaxed state again to have more joy towards these Olympics. Get what I mean? So I'm just going to muscle test to find out exactly where his stomach is located. It's way down over here. So I got to move that stomach way over and get away from that lung. And need to massage that for 1 minute, 2 minutes. So it's going to take a couple of minutes. And there's another valve here. Food comes in and it's supposed to close in behind. But sometimes when that esophagus shortens like that, it inverts this valve up inside of itself. And that's where some people can get some acid coming back up into their esophagus. So let's just check that one valve. So that valve is switched off too. So that valve is inverted up inside of itself. So I need to massage that stomach, get the esophagus to relax, get that valve back down, and then we'll recheck everything again. Massage for 1 minute. So yeah, 2 minutes this is going to take.
Oh man, that's so hard.
Any questions from anybody so far? For yourself?
No questions from me, Brian, but terrific job. Thanks, Aris.
Those are the emotions and the percentage.
Okay, so
Because I gotta go.
So yeah, we got all the emotions written down here. We got the percentages written down. So we'll see. We got to get this organ back in the right position though. Because you got to have the air. You got to be clear-minded when you're climbing like that too. In those indoor competitions. So yeah, this has been doing this type of body work for many years now. And people come from many different places to come get this done. But like what I like about it is you can work on different goals, different, not just physical things, emotional things, mental things that you want to attain, spiritual aspects of yourself that you would like to improve on, nutrition. And then if you can get that current to flow uninterrupted like that, and so that it helps to stay there to create that electromagnetic field to gain greater thoughts and greater insights and come up with those questions then to test with your dowsing tool that you do use.
Oh, it's starting to hurt.
Starting to hurt, eh?
Like almost gas veins, but when you press on the stomach.
Okay, so he feels like he's got gas pains. Well, that's the stomach up underneath the diaphragm of the lungs, and the gas gets trapped underneath the lungs like that. So we're moving that away, and it causes the stomach to go into a little bit of a cramp when that gas is in there like that. So we'll just keep massaging that stomach muscle, and it can relax. Then the esophagus can relax, like I said, then we can bring that valve down. I'll get you to take a deep breath of air in, and then breathe all the way out. And then all the way in again. So I'm just letting his chest come up, and I'm following his stomach as he breathes out. all the way in again, and then all the way out again. And I'm going to hold it down as he breathes in this time. Go ahead. Just like that. And then we'll go back and we'll recheck that. So let's see if we have the stomach in the right position first. That's strong, eh?
Yeah.
It was over here. It was down like that. Let's see if in that position. So that goes weak. So it's not in that position anymore. Let's just then check that valve. That's good. Let's go back into the lung. That test strong. This hand comes down. Breathe all the way in. All the way out. And I'll pull again on your legs. Now, does that feel strong to you? Yeah, he's nodding his head on that one. Breathe all the way in and all the way out. What feels different when you breathe?
It's almost like it's not so much up at my neck that I'm breathing. It's kind of in the middle or lower.
So I don't know if you heard what he said, but he said, ask him what his breathing's like. He says not so much up here anymore. It's in the middle or lower now, he said, when he breathes. Right?
Yeah.
Anything else?
My left lung doesn't hurt when I breathe in.
His left lung doesn't hurt when he breathes in now.
Because before it felt like it was being poked.
Before he said it felt like it was being poked.
Or like it was gonna pop.
Or like it was gonna pop almost.
When I breathed in, it was like it felt like the rib was digging into the lung.
I see. So he said it felt like the rib was digging into the lung before, not anymore?
No.
Okay. I'd like to check it myself, okay? Because I know it's the organs that control the nerves, that control the muscles to keep the bones where they should be. So I want to check this lung, liver, gallbladder, stomach, spleen, heart, this kidney, small intestine, pancreas, thyroid. I'll get you to look way up here with your eyes, down with your eyes, one way with your eyes, other way with your eyes. Turn your head all the way to that side for the ears, back to the other side. And then I'll get you to put both hands on top of your head. Strong. So let's just check this out. Say bones.
Bones.
Not strong. Say muscles.
Muscles.
Say nerves.
Nerves.
Oh, we still got a nerve problem. Say nerves on my left side.
Nerves on my left side.
Nerves on my
Nerves
right
on
side.
my right side.
Waist down.
Waist down.
Waist up.
Waist up.
So he's got a problem from the waist up somewhere. It goes weak. So I'm just going to scan and find it. I don't know if these guys can see my hand from there, but I'm just scanning. There's where the arm goes weak. Clockwise, strong, counterclockwise goes weak. So we want to go clockwise. How deep? A little deep. Pain?
No.
No pain on this one. Sometimes they'll tickle, and they'll find the ones that tickle. Those are repressed emotions that people are holding in when you're doing some of these. Let's just hold that again. Say nerves,
Nerves.
tendons, ligaments, organs, physical, mental.
Emotional, spiritual, nutritional.
So emotional test strong now. Well, we're going to see because I got the list with that. Say anger,
Anger.
resentment,
Resentment.
irritability,
Integrity.
integrity. So the stress was in his body putting the stress on the mind, not the mind putting the stress on the body. It can work both ways, so it depends on what you need to do. But we want to get his, just for him, the stress was in the body, putting the stress on the mind. So we got your life force and towards achieving the goal towards your Olympics was at 24%. Let's see where you're at now. Say 10 to 20,
10 to 20,
20 to 30,
20 to 30,
30 to 40,
30 to 40,
40 to 50.
40 to 50,
Keep going.
50 to 60, 60 to 70, 70 to 80, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99.
Oh, so we're in between 88% life force on towards this goal. Still got 2%. But let's find out the stress on this. It was at 84%. Let's see what it is now. So go 80 to 70.
80 to 70, 70 to 60, 60 to 50, 50 to 40, 40 to 30, 30 to 20, 20 to 10, 10 to 0.
So go 5,
5,
4,
3,
3,
2,
2,
1, 0.
So we still have 1% stress on this goal. So you kind of get the idea. We can do a full body balance again on this one to get it right back up to where we need to be. But let's just check all the different muscles on that now. So it was what? I am what?
I'm
Joy?
joy.
Say I'm joy?
I am joy.
Say
I am
that.
joy.
Bring your hands behind your back.
I am joy. 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 I am joy.
All strong so far?
I am joy. I am joy. I am
These were
joy.
really weak last time. How's that?
Much better. I am joy.
Yeah, that's good. Turn your foot out.
I am joy.
And again.
I am joy.
Hold this leg up.
I am joy.
Let's try the other one.
I am
These were
joy.
really weak last time too, eh? Hold that
I am
out.
joy.
Okay, and then we'll go back into this one.
I am joy.
How's strong? I'll
I
go
am
that
joy.
way.
I am joy. I am joy.
Bring your arms straight.
I am joy. I am joy.
Turn your hand out.
I am joy. I am joy.
Then this way.
I am joy.
Okay.
I am joy.
Hold that up.
I am joy.
Yeah, that's way better.
I am joy.
And I was pulling on you way harder than last time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll ask his body, is there more I can do for his body at this time? It says no. Are you sure? Okay. So when would be the next best time to do a balance for this joy towards the Olympics this? In 5 days time? 10 days? 15, 20, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months? So 60 days, 70 days, 80 days. So 70, 80 days. There's another aspect we can rebuild and towards achieving this goal also for that. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks, Horace, for let me do this demo. I wish I had other people with you that have, real physical problems so you could see the before and the after, but this is what you can do towards achieving your goals to get that energy levels up as high as possible and the stress down towards 0 as low as possible so that that body can, I guess, mold and bend towards the thoughts that you're creating to help you achieve those goals, to create that energy field around you, to bring to you those people, those places, those things, those times, and those events that give you that joy when it comes to that rock climbing. Kind of got the idea?
Yeah.
Thanks, Horace.
Wait, I have one more thing.
Well, he's got one more thing.
If you have
What
time.
is it?
So my shoulder, I dislocated my shoulder 2 or 3 years ago skiing. And whenever I put it into certain positions, it pops out of its socket over and over again. And it's really annoying.
Okay.
Would you be able to see if you could do something about that?
Well, let's see. Let's ask the body. Would we be able to do something to help that out? It is. It says yes, we can. What though?
I'm also, my shoulders the muscles are weak and small compared to my other one. And I think they're quite loose as well. It's almost like they've been stretched more than they should be. And they haven't really come back.
So can you hear that from there, what he said?
Yeah.
Okay. So what would you like?
I don't know. I just wanted to stop popping out of the socket as easy.
Okay, so when you move it in which position do you feel the pain?
It's like testing, like the testing position. If I don't continuously hold my shoulder strength, it will pop out of its socket. Like it just popped out of its socket.
It just popped out of its socket
It's
now?
popped out of its socket right now.
Popped out of its socket right now, he says. Okay. So when you go like this, how much pain is that?
Like this.
Yeah,
There's no pain except right here because I just.
except right there. You get the pain when it's in that position, right?
That's just because I was climbing just now.
Oh, you're
Kind of-
climbing just now, and that's why it's sore.
But usually it doesn't hurt my shoulder, but it's once it pops out of its socket in that one position, then it starts to hurt.
Well, let's see what we can do then. There's something we can do, but we got to find out what we got to do for that. Is there something I can do? There is. Okay. Is it something where my hands have to go? Yeah. Show me where with an indicator muscle change, meaning the arm will go down where I got to go to. Well, it's not on the arm. It's down here in your feet.
I thought so.
So that point there, and let's see where this one is. So that one there. So I'm getting it down. I don't know if you can see that, but it's right here on his foot. So from acupuncture, I know that the kidney meridian runs through there and the spleen meridian runs through there. So that's the upper trapezius muscle in here and the latissimus dorsi muscle that makes him do this. So I've got to activate those two together. So where does this hand go? Should it go from here down? No, from here up? Yeah, show me where. So should the fingers be pointed right in? Should the palm go there? No, fingers pointed in. All of them? So I want you to point all of your fingers right into there. It's about where the liver is. And then this hand, where should it go? This hand goes right over here like that. Okay? So I'll get you to hold those legs and I just want to test them. Ready? No power, huh? Should I hold those points there? 1 minute, 2 minutes, so 1 minute and 10, 1 minute and 20. So I got to hold here for about 1 minute and 20 seconds on him. So what I'm doing is I'm getting more oxygenated blood with the spleen going into that area. We're using what's called figure 8 energy that the Tibetans used to use many years ago. And we're getting the liver then to pull away these toxins away from that shoulder, like that. And apparently I've got to hold here for a couple of minutes. Well, no, 1 minute and 20 seconds, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So that's 80 seconds then. So sorry for the lull in that, but so that's how I learned doing dowsing, basically with muscle tests, to find out exactly where to go, what to do to help that body to be able to heal itself. So, and that started way back when. We used to go through the index in the back of the Touch for Health book, and wherever we got the arm to go down, that would be the page that we would go to. And with all the nerves and stuff that was on there, we would muscle test on that page which nerve went weak, and then just rub that nerve on that person. And then my uncle was from Missoula, Montana, and then we would work with him over the phone and take his name and transfer it into my body, my brother's body, and then work on my uncle through my brother's body. And we would phone him up, how you feel? Hey, pain's gone, you guys just worked on me, didn't you? Yeah. Because he paid good back then for us when we were kids, so we liked working on him. So it was a lot of fun to learn to ask the body and know where to go and what to do. Hold those legs again. That feels strong now, right?
Yes.
So just hold this arm up for me, and I'm just going to check if there's more. Just strong. Let's try this arm. How's that feel now?
It feels better, but
Feels better, but
it's still. It doesn't hurt when it pops out of its socket as much anymore, but it still hurts.
okay. So I want you to put your hand on that sore spot. I'm going to go back to these nerves on his feet again. And I'll get you to move that arm around in a big circle. Or where you feel it hurts. Or you feel it needs strengthening.
Do you want it to pop out of its socket or just?
I want you to just move around where it hurts. And tell me when the pain goes away.
Doesn't really hurt anywhere.
It doesn't hurt anywhere no more?
No, it's only when it pops out of its socket it hurts.
Yeah, I know, but if we get the muscle strong, there's no reason for it to pop out of its socket, right?
Yeah.
So we need to get more oxygenated blood going to it. And we need to have cleaner blood going to it to take away more debris and toxins away from that shoulder and acids that create inflammation. Now move your arms straight up and down. Any pain?
No.
No pain? Does it feel stronger?
It does feel a little bit stronger, yeah.
Where do you feel that it needs to be stronger yet?
Right about here.
Okay, so work it in that area then, okay?
Because right in that position, that's the position that pops out of its socket.
Okay,
I'm holding it in right now, so it doesn't,
okay.
but that's where it does.
So you just work it in that area in there, okay, till you feel where it's strong enough. Now you can muscle test to see if you need to use figure eights when doing that. You can use the lasers on there. You can use a muscle stimulator on there. You can use your hands. How's it doing?
It's slower, but it's still, like, it's better. Let's say that.
Okay. Tell me when it's good enough for you. How do you know, right?
Well, I know when it'll be better, but I feel like it'll be a while.
Well, how do you speed it up? So I want you to go in with your mind and use that energy that you know of to speed things up.
Yeah. I
Explain
was
to,
gonna say that.
explain to people what you're seeing when what you're doing. Okay? You gotta speak loud so they can hear.
Well, it's hard to see it on myself, but on other people, it usually shows up as black or dark gray or like a really dark color, like close to black, almost like a shadow, somewhere on the body, and it's usually kind of an ovally type shape, but sometimes it's intricate or circle. It's always rounded, it's never cornered. And what I do is I just stare at that spot and almost picture it as that spot not being there. And eventually it'll get to a point where I can still see that it's there, but it's more of like a distant it's like when you see in movies when they're doing a flashback, how it's kind of there, but it's also not there. It's kind of that in a way. I'm not sure how else to explain it. And then at that point, I'll ask, how do you feel? Is there any pain in that spot? And yeah.
So let's just apply that to yourself.
Well, it's hard for me to apply that to myself because I don't see the dark spots on myself.
But you can imagine that, right?
Yeah.
Because did you know that Albert Einstein said that imagination is more important than knowledge?
Yeah.
So the more you can visualize that and ingrain that within yourself like that, you should be able to heal yourself like that.
Yeah. I can, if I know where the spot is, I can heal myself, but it's a longer process than when I'm doing it on someone else. And almost always I don't see the spot. it's more of a where I feel it more than where I see it.
Okay, so that's being empathic in a way. An empath. That's where you feel it.
Yeah.
So apply that to yourself.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Okay.
So you feel it, right?
Yeah.
What do you do? Or what would you tell somebody else to do?
What would I tell somebody else to do?
Yeah.
Oh, people have asked me this a lot, and I never have an answer.
Huh, got him stumped for words. What?
Imagine that that part of your body is almost gone, and you don't feel anything there. It's like still air. You don't feel it, but you know it's there in a way, subconsciously. It's hard to explain it. I don't know. Imagine it's not there. But still focus on if it was there, but imagine it as it's not. So that you know what it feels like to have zero pain there and have it at its full capacity or ability, I guess, because it's non-existent. And then after a certain amount of time, for me at least, I feel a shift in that spot and it will be gone. It's different for everybody, but
Okay.
I don't know how else I could explain it. Also, doing it in a mirror on yourself is helpful because I don't usually see it on a screen, but looking at a mirror, I can see the dark spots on people and sometimes myself.
Okay.
It almost enhances it actually, the mirror. Yeah.
So let's just test that. Should you do that? Okay. For how long? 1 minute a day? 2 minutes a day? Should you do it every day? No, every second day. So every second day. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Once a day, twice a day. So every second day, 3 minutes. Can you do that?
Yeah.
So go ahead and do that now.
Okay.
You do what you just said. And then while you're doing that, and you'll need a couple of minutes to do that, and I can talk some more while you're doing that. Any questions or observations or comments from anybody?
Hello.
Yes.
It's Paul here.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm very pleased to be watching this and learning from it. I think we all know a little bit about muscle testing, but as you know, we live in a Western society, and we tend to be more focused on material things and things that we can see and hear and touch. And Western medicine seems to have taken us almost by the throat and say, oh, you got to do this and you got to do that. I've had a couple heart surgeries where I had a valve replaced, and I'm always questioning the doctors. And one time, God bless his soul, he says, "Don't play doctor." so you can imagine, I was kind of put back by that, but at the same time, I was left into a quandary as to, well, should I follow what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, or should I just listen to them and take my medications as indicated, when and where and how? So I just wanted you to comment maybe a little bit more about how we can kind of join or weld the two systems that I think a lot of us are familiar with. Unfortunately, probably more familiar with the Western than, I guess, so-called Eastern. And I'm not sure whether your muscle testing would fit more under an Eastern type of medicine. But maybe you could comment on how the two systems can work together.
Sure. And I believe everybody should work together, because everybody has their strengths and their weaknesses. And I remember when I first started this stuff and my dad saying to me, Brian, why are you doing this? Only hippies take vitamin C, he would say. And well, it got me walking again, and it helps other people. So, and it made me feel good to be able to help people, and that I felt purposeful and worthwhile. And I think as it gets out there more and more, no different than, with types of, this type of thing we're doing right now, as it gets more and more and people become more and more aware of it, but it needs a scientific explanation behind it, even though there's no instruments yet to detect it, what we're actually doing. I think it's slowly getting there, but I mean, I remember when doctors hated chiropractors with a passion. Send somebody to a chiropractor was unheard of. Now they're sending them more to massage therapists and chiropractors, whatever that they can help with, so and as more and more medical people are starting to look at this and doing double-blind studies and stuff like that, I think it'll become more and more mainstream as time goes on. What are your thoughts, Paul, on that?
No, of course. Well, it's a very large topic, but yeah, definitely I've seen some changes. I'm 77 years old, but I've seen a lot of changes, and I've actually did some massage therapy in my lifetime. Yeah, it's definitely, things are changing, and I guess I like what you said in a way, that there's good things that we can learn from all of of all of the both sides, I guess, of the coin. I would like to know though, uh, is there some way, I mean, in my situation, where I could use both systems so that I can maybe get off the medication and maybe rely less on going to see the doctor every time, because a lot of times I'll think to myself, well, I don't need to go see him. He's going to tell me the same thing he told me last time. And
Yeah.
things haven't changed, haven't really got any better. So I'm just like repeating myself, and he's repeating himself, and
Just
we're
remind me again,
just wasting a lot of time, right?
what was the problem again, Paul? Heart attack, did you say?
No, I had two valve job surgeries, two valve replacements.
Okay.
So
And
my heart is working well. Pardon?
And what happened with the valves?
Well, the valve, they became encrusted and deformed.
Okay. Now I know what you're talking about. And then
So
the valve.
they removed it, and one was like 11 years ago, and one was 6 months ago.
Okay.
So they've changed their procedures and changed the type of valves and all kinds of things. But yeah, so that's what happened.
So you got to go back further than that and go, why did that happen? And I don't know for sure without taking a look or nothing like that, but usually what happens, and it starts off with undigested proteins and fats. And then what happens then with undigested fats, they get backed up into the liver. And then when you're not digesting your proteins as well as they should, what happens then is that red blood cells start to link together, so oxygen carrying capacity goes down. The stomach then has to produce more acid to try to churn and mix up your food to make it into a liquid state. When the kidneys can't pull all that acid out, then it gets backed up into the lymph nodes and into the bloodstream. So then undigested fats, they get trapped inside those little valves like that. Calcium then comes in and binds to it to keep it stable. And that's it starts to form calcifications inside those valves like that. So they can't be as elastic as they should be and open and close properly as like they should. So that's usually what happens with those.
Well, that I'd just like to add to that. Yes,
Sure.
I definitely have a digestive problem as well, and
Yeah.
have had that for years. And it seems to run. I know my older brother, who's passed on now, who had very severe problems with acid indigestion.
Yeah.
So I guess there was some connection within the family of that problem.
Okay, and it usually goes back to, I'll give you an example. So for example, meat, eggs, fish, dairy, they take an acid enzyme to break those down. Something like potato, pasta, rice, or bread, they take an alkaline enzyme to break those down. So when you combine an acid enzyme, when you have meat with either potato, pasta, rice, or bread, with an alkaline enzyme, it neutralizes the enzymes. Now the stomach then has to produce more acid. That stomach acid then goes into the intestine and is pulled right into the bloodstream from that, from those intestines, and there's where you start to get an inflammatory response.
Is that a leaky gut syndrome?
Well, when you get more and more undigested proteins, and it happens in the large intestine, it's like a bunch of donuts stacked up on one another. And inside the wall of the intestine is where you start to get partially undigested foods that build up layer upon layer. And then they build up and then they start to balloon the bowel. So it's kind of like blowing up a balloon, Paul, where the balloon wall or the colon wall starts to get thinner. And that's what happens to the bowel. The bowel gets thinner then. Now you're leaching toxins from the large intestine that go back up to the liver. So that's when you have a leaky bowel syndrome.
Okay.
Another thing that can cause leaky bowel syndrome, people are eating way too much sea salt.
Sorry.
That will thin all skins in the body, whether it be the skin that surrounds the intestines, the skin on your body, everywhere like that. Those
Is that the same as you said, leaky gut or leaky valve?
Well, leaky bowel, but leaky valve is where the valves can't close properly because of the calcifications that are inside the valves like that.
Okay, but are we talking about the heart or about the stomach?
Well, if leaky bowel is what I'm talking about, where the bowel gets ballooned.
Right,
Leaky
okay.
valve in the heart, then is when the valves can't close because of calcifications inside the valve like that.
Okay, all right. So the confusion has a connection.
It does. It does. And
Yeah.
I would say probably close to, I'm going to have to say around 80% or maybe more of the people that I see, and same with the hospitals that they see, is gastrointestinal related.
Right. So you're going to leave us your name and your phone number at the end?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, Paul, I have I'll put into the message box all of Brian's information. I also, if you go onto the Calgary Dowsers website, www.calgarydowsers.com, right on the very main page there, if you just scroll down, you'll see Brian's bio and where you can reach him at. I believe his number is on there, his email, his website, and also his Facebook. So anyone that's interested on contacting Brian to talk more with him or book a session with him, you can find all his information on the website.
I'd be happy to answer all your questions, any questions that you guys got. I really enjoy doing that to help people, to show them what they can do for themselves and be able to how to heal themselves. So, and I can usually be reached before 9 a.m. in the morning or after 9 o'clock at night. because between 9 to 9 at night, I'm working with people. And then I work 20 to 21 days straight from 9 in the morning till 9 at night. And then I take a week off.
Right. One last question, Brian.
Sure.
None of us want to get old. So, and I've always felt that I was, going to stay young forever. But
Yeah.
at some point, we get blasted by the different maladies and problems and pain and suffering and diseases, and we kind of get the picture. So, how do we know how long we're supposed to live? Are we still supposed to be trying to stay healthy and alive, or should we just say, okay, well, my time's up here. It's time that I have to go. I'm the youngest of a family of 5, and I always tell everybody I'm next to go, because it's true. I'm the next one to go. So, do I just stay here as long as I can, or do I just get ready to go?
Well, I think it's each to your own on that one. But for myself personally, I want to live a high quality of life to give me a good quantity of life on that. I know that after the age of 65, the minerals start to really get depleted in the body from that. And it's bringing those minerals and getting those minerals being pulled back into the system again, that to create that electromagnetic charge within yourself. And it's been scientifically proven now that the number one thing to people's ill health is the thoughts that you think. So if you're getting old and you're accepting that you're getting old, you better be doubting the doubt on that one.
Right.
Okay? Because it's not about the story so much. It's the emotion in behind that story. So what you want to do is you want to put a counteracting frequency into that story. So let's say it's fear of dying. That's the number one thing people are the most scared of. The second most thing that people are scared of is standing in front of an audience and speaking. So, like I said, it's not about the fear of dying, it's the fear itself. So what's the opposite of fear? Well, it would be courage or bravery. You need to put that attitude back into that story. The second thing to people's ill health is the air that we breathe. Because 20% of that make us up, the elements that make us up, come from the ground. And that's where it creates a cationic charge, meaning that the molecules, the electrons in the molecules are on a positive charge, but they spin in a negative direction, counterclockwise. And then there's the anions that come from the Van Allen belt. And that spins the opposite direction to that. So it's through the anions and cation exchange and that it creates a part of light. So those different frequencies of light then, and light slowed down starts to create mass. Decaying photons of light start to create positive and negative in the body like that. So if you speed that energy up, you go back to light, basically. And that's what when you break down the body right down to a subatomic level, that's what we are as light beings. So what's putting out your light, And I see it when people, as they get older and they start to age, they start talking about the good old days, Well, it's your thoughts that you're thinking from the past that you're bringing into the present that you're trying to bring into your future. When it comes to thought-wise, people should be thinking about how they want to be for the rest of their life and beyond if they can fathom that and hold that thought. So by taking in the minerals from the plants that we get, because those are organic minerals that our body can use, inorganic minerals such as, let's say, sea salt, are minerals that your body can't use. They're inorganic. The only minerals that we truly get are the plants that pick up those minerals or the animals that eat those plants. And you still have to be able to digest them and be able to pull them in. And it's not so much about the food that you eat, it's the energy that you get off your food that counts. And that's all done mostly by the liver on that one. And then the next thing that comes after that is the exercise that we get. And then after the air, is the water that we drink. So we should be drinking the purest water out there, the cleanest water out there. And in my opinion, that's distilled water, because it's a washed water. As that water is distilled and it condenses back down into liquid form again, the water molecules are in smaller microclusters. So it gets in between those cells more to hydrate those cells, because 80% of our body is made up of water. The next second biggest mineral is calcium after that. But so after that, then the water, then comes the exercise, then it's the foods that we eat, is the last on the totem pole of the healing of the body. Where you'd think foods would be number one, but it's actually not. And I wondered, people would come up from California, they're eating these really good or certified organic foods. They do their yoga, they do their meditations, they do their exercises. And here's some old boy that comes from the bar, smokes a pack of cigarettes, has a pint of beer with the buddies, and then goes home and does his thing, and was in better shape than these other people were. And I wondered, well, why is that? Well, is it genetics? No, genetics only makes up 25%. The rest is environmental. What we think, eat, feel, sleep, all that stuff. So then, well, if it's not that, and it used to be that you're born here and you die here. That's not true anymore. Because of epigenetics, you can change the expression of your genes to turn on health. And you can change the expression of your genes to turn off disease. So it's being well-rounded physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, nutritionally to help keep your body into balance, because stress on the mind can put stress on the body. And when a person internalizes about the same thing over and over again, now it becomes distress. And when you internalize about the same things over and over again, then what happens is that your brain secretes an acid too, which can strip minerals out of the body, leads to deficiencies, arthritis, suppressed immune system, and eventually higher cholesterol levels. So there's a whole gamut of things that a person has to look at. It's not just one thing. And everybody's so unique and so individual. That's why I'm still doing body balancing one person at a time. Yeah. So Paul, to answer your questions, number one is watch the thoughts that you think. It's not about it's not about your story, Paul. It's the emotion behind your story. And if you're internalizing about it over and over, then you need to rethink with a different attitude and put that back into your story. Does that help on that part?
Yeah, yes, it does, Brian. Thanks very much for covering that topic. It's a big topic, so
it is, Paul. It
yeah.
really is. But it's something.
I appreciate your insights, and we'll be in touch.
Okay, but people don't acknowledge that enough, of that mental emotional aspect of things. And now, well, this COVID thing going on, the stress of this whole thing is way worse, in my opinion, than the COVID will ever be. So.
Yeah, the other thing, just to add to that, Brian, I'm really quite disappointed in the medical people that, now that you've mentioned the COVID thing, very few people talk about the immune system. And the immune system is really what's going to decide whether or not myself or you or anybody else is going to get it, not some nobody else sneezing or somebody touching you or somebody standing too close to you. So I really think they missed the boat on that, and that immune system, I think, is something that needs to be spoken about a lot more.
So then the white blood cells, let's say macrophages, become too elevated, and other ones are more suppressed then. So now you have an immune response. Now you have an inflammatory problem. So now this is why in Europe they're using more and more anti-inflammatories with people who have COVID that's over there, especially in Italy right now, that they're doing that. And did you know also that 40% of your whole immunity is determined by the good bacteria in your gut on that? And most people don't pay attention to that because they're not taught that. And that's all it is. You know, and I get it. The doctor's got to go through 60 to 90 patients a day on average. They don't have time, or they're not making the time to explain to people what they can do to help empower themselves. Instead, here, just take this as a medication. So as a medication, all of that has to be metabolized by the liver. So then that puts more stress on the liver, and that liver controls 553 things every second in your body. And it's so forgiving. They can lop off up to 75% of a liver, donate it to somebody else, and it'll grow back if you're pulling in those proteins to grow liver protein, to grow a whole new liver. So, you know, people are, you know, they're talking more on it on Dr. Oz and shows like that, but still really, they got a long way to go on all that, I believe, from all different diseases, whether it be multiple sclerosis, Alzheimer's, Lou Gehrig's disease, cancer. All of these are mostly digestive related. Only 20% of the cancers aren't digestive related that's out there. And that's the #1 killer in North America, and heart attacks is rated behind it. Colon cancer is the 3rd leading cause of disease. And then diabetes after that. Yeah. And it just takes education, I believe, on that. Because doctors aren't studying how the whole body has to work together. They study systems, whether it be the skeletal system or the circulatory system or the digestive system. They don't study how they all have to work together and in conjunction with one another on all levels in order for the frequency in your body to be high enough in order to ward off dis-ease, in my opinion. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Brian. I got a couple questions, just really quick questions here. Number one, for someone who wants to get into helping others, maybe getting into a healing modality or something of the like, what would be your recommendation for where someone would start for that? If they're getting pulled into that, where would they start? Maybe not which modality they would start, but where should their attention be focused to start with?
I think to go to energy kinesiology. It's the fastest complementary medicine in the world today. And there's over 400 types of modalities now for that. So there's different aspects of, it depends on what you want to work with, the physical, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, the nutritional aspects of it. But I would say there where you can use still your, I guess your intuition or the lower back part of the brain here with that to be able to identify those stressors and to be able to diffuse them. I guess that would be the best. And as a basic one, I would say Touch for Health is pretty good for all people as an introduction to that. And then there's Kinesiopractor, where it's a 4-year program. That's probably the one that's the one that has the most variety of modalities that's out there that have been brought in. That's one, and it includes Touch for Health too, but it's fairly expensive, pretty time consuming, but just to get started, I would say Touch for Health. And make sure it's a good instructor that's you're working with that knows their thing, that knows the different rules that goes along with this muscle testing, the do's and the don'ts. The ones that I would say that have put in the time and the effort and have the experience. And it's just, I don't know how you find that out. It's kind of word of mouth, no different than you would find any complementary type medicine practitioner to work with. But that's a good start. The body management, I would say, will work with any modality that you do. And that's the one that I've used the most. And it's not just because I like to try different modalities out. See how effective they are. See how it changes the blood. See how it actually is working at a cellular level with someone to find out what I can do to make that modality even better than what it was. And so over the years, I've helped to improve different modalities to make them easier, funner to do, quicker responding. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I do that by asking the body, really.
And one more thing, you know, with the experience that you have so far and the work you've done with people, you know, what would be one piece of knowledge that you can leave that would help us live up to our full potential?
Live with unconditional love.
Mm.
And that means no judgment. Just be the observer of things and try to keep the judgments out of it, because there's always an emotional attachment to it, and it'll get you into that trap. And the way to love a person, yourself, really unconditionally, because that's what it all starts with. Everything starts with self. To be able to forgive. Forgive means to go back into the past to give to. So you need to know what to forgive within yourself. And there's usually the emotion that goes along with it. Everybody are trying to forgive everybody else for the anger that they feel, when really, you can't really control that too much. The only thing that you can control is yourself. So by loving yourself unconditionally with no judgments in there, now you open yourself up to greater possibilities. Then you're going to draw those types of people to you that are also unconditional. Those places then, those things, those times, those events, to really enhance your life and to show you just how great you really are already, and how much more there is to love, and there is to go out there and enjoy it and see, good or bad. It doesn't matter, because if you love unconditionally, there is no good or bad no more. There is no right, no wrong anymore. There is no past or future anymore. There's more of living in the present and being the observer of all things. And I think the more that you can observe and be aware, then you can ward off those things before they manifest physically within yourself or outside of yourself with people, places, things, times, and events. So even though there can be a hurricane, like a tornado going around you, of people, places, things, times, and events of your environment, in the center of that storm, it's calm. And calm is the only emotion that has no emotion to it. So the more you can recognize within yourself and be aware of those emotions within yourself, send the opposing emotion back into that story again. And that's where you truly start to forgive, to make that a no thing anymore, so that you can move on with your life, so that you can be more aware of how you want to be for the rest of your life and beyond, if you can fathom that. Because I worked with lots of people that were on their deathbed. I wanted to work on the worst of the worst. So I'd go into palliative care, and I would help those people that were going through the dying process. And the ones that were scared to die, it was weird. The family around them, they were calm. It's going to be all right, Dad, or it's going to be all right, Mom. And then the ones that were ready to go, that had dealt with their emotions, that wanted to move on, it was totally opposite with the family dynamics. They were scared of losing their mother or their father or that friend of theirs. So the ones who can let go of those emotions by diffusing them, by finding the opposite of that emotion and putting that back into the story again, those are the ones who don't have any regrets at the end of the day. those are the ones who look forward to. Those are the ones that are growing instead of dying, because you're either growing in life or you're dying. These cells are either growing or they're dying. So how do you want to live? Do you want to live in the past? Do you want to live so far in the future that you got anxiety? Or so far in the past that you have fear? Or are you living both with fear and anxiety, and in the middle of that is indecisiveness? So if you got fear and indecisiveness or fear and anxiety going on, you need to be courageously calm or calmly courageous and make the decision. Move on. Don't have no regrets. Don't live in the past. Move on and learn from it, and just have the attitude that there are no mistakes. It's just variations. And the more you can live and grow, and by having those different experiences, then you have more of those pearls of wisdom to even grow and to become even greater than what you already are. Yeah. I guess without going on and on, you know.
Thank you so much, Brian. That was amazing. Thank you so much for doing the presentation with your son. I'll be following up here in 4 years to see if he's to watch him in the rock climbing there in the Olympics.
But who knows? I mean, we're neuroplastic. We have neuroplasticity. We can change our minds anytime we want, you know? That's the nice thing about it. So who knows? I may be balancing them for something totally different later on. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So thank you so much again, Brian, for taking the time, and Ellie, thank you as well for helping organize this, and yeah, just thank you both very, very much. I just wanted to add for those who missed it in the beginning there, our next meeting is going to be in person at the Crescent Heights Community Hall. It's just in the northwest there off 2nd Street, 11th Ave and 2nd Street Northwest. I will have the address on the website, and our next newsletter, all that stuff will be on the website at www.calgarydowsers.com. Paul, if you're in Calgary, I encourage you to come by for that meeting. It'll be on November 18th. The presenter is going to be Tarun Puri, and he's going to be talking about managing your energy, not your stress. And he's going to be going into more in depth into the mind, and how to manage your mind and make it work for you, and how to manage your thoughts. So he's going to go really deep into that next month. So if you're interested in stopping by for that, yeah, I'll put all the information for next month's meeting. It'll be on the website here by this weekend. So if you guys want to check it out, and I'll send out a newsletter as well for those who are subscribed. If you're not subscribed, visit our website and join up, and then you'll be up to date with all our new presenters and meetings that we hold monthly. Thank you guys for coming on, and enjoy the rest of your trip.
Thanks, and keep her going. It's needed badly out there. Or goodly out there, I should say.
Goodly.
Needed goodly out there, yeah. All right.
Bye.
Okay, thank you guys so much.
Good night. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, night.